What's going on? What's crack-a-lackin', my peoples, my peoples? How you doing? I'm Jerry Quickley, and this is happening. Want to give a big shout-out to our viewers on the web because we're now live streaming the show. So you want to look behind the screen, you can just say hello. Say hello to us on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and look for Jerry Quickley or This Is Happening, and you will find us listed right there. Today, we're going to be talking about what's going on across the Trump landscape, not the least of which is, did you know that Donald Trump keeps Hitler's speeches on his nightstand? It's a practice he's had for a very, very long time. Donald Trump, it's a known fact, keeps Hitler's speeches by the nightstand. I'm going to talk about what's going on across the Trump-scape in Trumplandia as he tries to shift our attention away from one scandal to another by threatening one group after another. Now he believes he has the ability to unilaterally change the Constitution. He knows he doesn't. He just says, oh, well, I'm going to do a birthright citizenship because it gives the news something else to talk about other than his open anti-Semitism and hatred of political opponents that has led to multiple terrorist attacks in the last week. All that and more. First up, you know what's going on. You know how we do. Let's start it. What's going on? What's crack-a-lackin', my peoples, my peoples? How you doing? I'm Jerry Quickley. Welcome back to This Is Happening. We're taking your calls this hour at 818-985-5735. Again, the phone number here is 818-985-KPFK. For our first clip, we're going to give a listen to this clip today. This is from MSNBC, Nicole Wallace. This is her show where she talks to Tim O'Brien, Trump biographer Tim O'Brien, and he explains how Trump keeps Hitler's speeches by his bed.
But I'm not willing to let white voters off the hook. I think that they, like the rest of us, should be treated as adults. And I think that there are a large number, I would say a majority of white Americans in this country who are not just Democrats, but who are people of conscience, who are good Americans. And I believe that they need to move from saying, well, I don't like his tweets, but, you know, the economy's doing okay. They move from there to reality, which is that we have a white nationalist president who's a threat to American democracy. And regardless of party or policy views, you should put country over party first.
This is not the conversation Donald Trump wants the country to be having in the final days.
No, because it's not, it's not a campaign strategy on his part. This is who Donald Trump is. He has been a bigot and a white nationalist for a long time. This is a guy who kept a book of Hitler's speeches on the nightstand by his bed.
Wow.
This is a guy who in tweets of the last week has invoked Stalinist and Nazi rhetoric to criticize the media.
Fascist rhetoric.
Fascist rhetoric. He revels in it. And so it's not just a short-term, policy or political move by him to appeal to his base. He's speaking from the heart. And American voters are seeing him for who he is.
Yeah, American voters are seeing him for who he is. Boom, there it is. We are taking your calls here. 818-985-5735. What do you think about the fact that the President of the United States keeps Hitler's speeches in a little pile on his nightstand? If someone had said that previously, right? If some nut, some tragic mulatto hippie such as I were to have said that, well, I think Trump is such a racist and an anti-Semite, I think there's a distinct possibility that he might actually be using Hitler's speeches. He might have Hitler's speeches by his bedside table. Every right-wing freak in this country would have said, no, you tragic mulatto ninny, you hippie, you broken hippie. Well, how could you even say that about Donald Trump? How could you even express that our great president would have the speeches of Hitler by his nightstand? Well, it's a fact that Trump keeps Hitler's speeches on his nightstand. Oh, okay, well, let's talk about the Democrats. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. Let's talk about those blacks, plus the Puerto Ricans, not to mention the gays and those immigrants. Let's talk about anything other than Donald Trump's Hitler speeches on his goddamn nightstand. Oh, welcome to the Terror Dome. 818-985-5735 is the phone number here. That's 818-985-KPFK. I'm Jerry Quickley, and this is happening. Tomorrow we're going to be having a big discussion, by the way, on the election. Going to be over some of the propositions that are on the ballots in California and in other states as well. And, of course, we're going to have a special elections coverage next Tuesday. And on Friday, we got a big special coming up for y'all all. You definitely want to check it out. The one and only, the legend, the full-length interview. It's not even an interview. It's really a documentary, that radio documentary that we've done with and about John Densmore. So that's coming up on Friday. You definitely want to tune into that. I have been a fan of John Densmore since I was a child, and it was well after the Doors were popular. But I was in a generation that has happened every generation since the Doors have existed, which is that the kids of that generation find their way to the music. They find their way to the music of the Doors, whether it's a 13-year-old gay Latinx kid in East Los, or whether it's some black nerd in Crown Heights in the late 70s, or whether it's a poor white kid in rural West Virginia. Generation after generation of America's youth has found their way to the Doors for a very good reason, because the emotions they expressed were deeply resonant and the music and work of the band is groundbreaking. Join me on Friday for a special with John Densmore of the Doors as we take a look back at John's work, what he's doing now, and what he thinks the future holds. Really looking forward to that. Taking your calls, 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK. So we're going to take a really short break, come back with your calls, and we're going to play some clips that include Eddie Glade from Yale talking about how shocking, truly, every day Trump's racism reaches a new shocking low. We're going to take a really short break. Be right back. What's going on? What's crack-a-lack, my peoples? Welcome back to the show. Taking your phone calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. First up, let's talk to Douglas calling from Babak. Douglas, welcome to the show. What's the deal?
Hey.
How you doing?
Can you hear me, Jared?
Yes, I can, buddy.
First of all, thank you so much for your inspiring, truth that's being spoken all the time on your program.
Thank you.
I wanted to point out, because I was watching both your program and as well as CNN last night, about how Trump is now saying he wants to change the Constitution, right, so that if you're born here, you're not necessarily a citizen.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know this. If you don't know, please check it out. But several years ago, I want to say I was in Florida, but I was sitting reading, it might have been the Philippines, and I was reading about all of Trump's hotels in Florida were advertising these tremendous suite or deals where he was bringing in Russian women to have their babies so that they could be citizens.
Okay.
No.
Listen, hippie, I'm going to have to hang up on you because that was supposed to remain secret. Okay, but now that you've blown it, hippie, and you've let the cat out of the bag, here's the deal, Douglas. Trump administration is talking about this caravan of these terrible brown people, and they have smallpox, which was eradicated in 1980, by the way. See, and here's the crazy part. Here you have white supremacists who literally gave smallpox-laden blankets to the Indians to infect them to steal their land, and smallpox was finally eradicated in 1980, and you have white supremacists saying these Mexicans are trying to march smallpox back into us. No, that was a weapon, guns, germs, and steel of white supremacy that was deployed against Native Americans. It is not being redeployed against white Americans. It's an obscenity. But circling back to your point on these Russians, we're all worried about these folks arriving in this caravan, and Trump wants to do away with the 14th Amendment. Right now, every year, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Russians, rich Russians, come to America and stay in Trump-branded properties so they can have their Russian baby in America and have an American passport. There are quite literally hundreds and hundreds of pregnant Russian women coming to America every year to help Donald Trump get rich and essentially steal a U.S. passport for their white baby. How dare these white babies steal? These white babies are thieves. These white Russian babies are thieves. Of course they're not. They're innocent children. But that's the type of insanity that is alleged against people of color.
Well, it's the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And it's the lie that he's telling the rest of the public that it's not okay to have your baby, or he wants to try to change it, but he's lucratively stealing and receiving monies from his hotels. And I mean, I think they're charging $10,000, $20,000 for these 3 or 4 month stays so that they can have their children here. But this has been going on for years. That's
exactly. He's literally been flooding the marketplace with the Russian baby marketplace with U.S. passports that Russians have essentially paid Donald Trump for. And he doesn't have a single problem with the thousands of Russians that have been given U.S. citizenship because they paid a visa bill. He has no problem with that, but he's got a real big problem with Mexicans.
So more about treason, bro. Why isn't this all over the news? I don't understand.
Well, yeah, Douglas, you were in front of the curve with us for this. In fact, we had an editorial meeting this afternoon. I won't tell you where it was. It was Sugarfish. It was awesome. So we had an editorial meeting
going on in the next 3 days, bro. Before the
exactly. We're trying to get to it today. We're working on it now. We're going to be doing a larger Russian story on the Russian baby scandal. We're going to be doing a larger story on that tomorrow. You're on top of the news cycle. You're in front of the curve, Douglas. Thank you for making us all smarter, buddy. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Let's give a listen to this next clip. This is MSNBC, where Eddie Glaude talks about how even for Trump, the new levels of racism that are reached on a daily basis are truly shocking.
He doubled down on what motivated, what radicalized Bowers to go in there and kill those 11 people. He doubled down like a moral monster. And see, I know one thing I did in 2016. I'll say this on your show, Nicole. I was critical of Hillary Clinton, and I get hemmed up on Twitter every day for criticizing Donald Trump because people believe I'm responsible in part for Donald Trump in being in the White House. What I did wrong in 2016 is I overestimated white people. I didn't think white people would put him in office. So here he is running around the country, appealing to our darker angels, appealing to our hatreds and fears. And I'm supposed to believe that Delaware County in Ohio is not going to vote for him? That the suburbs in Pennsylvania aren't going to vote for him? Aren't going to vote for him? So part of what I do know is that it's going to require young people. It's going to require people of color. It's going to require African Americans like they showed up in Alabama and Virginia. It's going to require us to turn out in massive numbers because I made a mistake in 2016. And the evidence is not in yet. I know it sounds cynical, but this man doubled down after 11 beautiful people were shot and killed while worshiping. Jeffersontown, Kentucky, murdered, shot in the back of the head. For what? For what? Some ideal of whiteness that Donald Trump represents and spews out of his mouth every single day.
Every single day. That was Eddie Glaude. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. What do you think about Trump sleeping right next to his nightstand? He has his Eastern European bride on one part of the bed, assuming, and then him, and then right next, sandwiched between between Hitler's speeches and Trump's Eastern European bride, sandwiched between them is Donald Trump himself. He keeps Hitler's speeches on his nightstand. If someone had suggested that without evidence or proof, this is, by the way, this is verified by Tim O'Brien, a biographer on Trump. If you suggested, no one would believe it, right? Right? They'd be like, you crazy, Jerry, you crazy. That's too much. How can you even say something like, why would a U.S. president sleep with the speeches of Hitler right by his bed? You're just crazy. You're a broken, tragic mulatto. Well, that might be true, But just because I'm a broken, tragic mulatto doesn't mean I'm crazy. He sleeps with Hitler's speeches. And a racist from Eastern Europe. Yeah, yes, Melania Trump's a goddamn racist. You cannot, there's not possible for someone who is not a racist to marry a racist and spend their life with him. It's not possible. You will be so offended on a daily basis by the utterances from his disgusting open sewer mouth that you would turn and walk away, and it wouldn't matter how much you got or didn't get. If you're married to Donald Trump, you are a goddamn racist. It's not possible that you're not. You can't be married to a racist like that and facilitate his racism and say, but, oh, that's not me. Because we're not talking about someone. Yeah, you could be married to a racist and potentially not be a racist yourself, but only if it's a racist with a really small R. Okay? Not a racist with a capital R and not a racist in all caps. Donald Trump is an all caps racist. You cannot be married to an all caps racist if you actually have a problem with racism. Take your calls here at 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK. Next up, let's talk to Denise calling from Tahunga. Denise, welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Hey, Jerry, amazing show you have as usual. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for Tom Hartman and that conversation we had last week. He was amazing.
He was, wasn't he?
Oh my gosh,
big fan of Tom.
I couldn't get enough of him. I couldn't get enough. So please bring him back.
Looking forward to having him. And here's what I'm super excited about too. Y'all all can check out Tom every day, 5 days a week, each morning here. We're doing our best to remain relevant and current. We have revamped the afternoon schedule. We brought in a new flagship show. It's one you're listening to now. Morning has a new flagship show with Tom Hartman. In addition to the host of already great programming we have, this is us responding to the times we're in. This is us trying to be relevant and trying to make the platform better. So I'm really glad you're a fan of Tom. I know I am too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And in terms of your other topic, I mean, where do we start with the hate? I mean, I'm having a really hard time dealing with all this hate that's out there. I'm a woman of color, and, this is just, anyway, I don't want to go there. So I'm just talking about the speeches on his side table that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he actually would be reading, because I don't think that's a president that can read. So he probably has them on tape. He probably has them on some kind of audio device, because everything that he spews is just, it almost seems like line for line out of those speeches, and the delivery is very similar if you listen to any of Hitler's speeches.
Yeah.
So I'm just really concerned, because I'm a businesswoman out there, and I had my guys who are obviously Mexican, they are the ones that want to work. A guy just pulled up and took out a gun and just pointed it at him.
Oh, at your workers who are Mexican, at your employees who are Mexican. He just pulled out a gun and pointed at them.
Yeah, and said, go back to Mexico. I mean, these are American guys, right? They were born here. They're working legitimately.
They're Mexican-American.
Mexican-American, and he spat on them and said, go back to Mexico. And, I mean, really, this has never happened in my 20 years in business. I do landscaping. These guys are the best landscapers out there. And, it's just like, what is going on with people thinking they can treat people any which way just because you're of a different color? Like, what's up with that?
You know what it reminds me of, Denise? I remember I'm long in the tooth. I'm officially an old bastard now, right? I was born in 1964, and I remember being a child in New York City in the 70s. And just a brief way of example of what we're experiencing now is a return to the past. There was a woman sitting in a park in John Jay Park who started yelling and screaming at my sister and I, calling us all kinds of niggers and black spook bastards, want to bake a pie with these niggers. All the language was I'm 8 years old. Look at this woman like, oh, wow, I think something's a little wrong with it. And then she pulled out a box cutter and she came after my sister and I, and we played a deadly game of keep away until the police could arrive. The police arrived. They they took them into custody. I'm assuming they were taking her to a hospital for mental health services. She deserved and needed mental health services. And she just was mentally ill and happened to be expressing it with this deep, horrific racism at two innocent children. And I asked the police officer, I said, "Officer, what's going to happen to this lady?" And the cop told me to shut my black mouth and get out of the park before he arrests me for trespass. He was angry that I was involved in a scenario that forced him to arrest a white person. We are returning to those times. They're not that goddamn distant. And that's exactly the place that Trump is trying to drag us all back to.
It's really scary because, I mean, the thing is, we were in front of the house that we were working on, and there were cameras on the house, so we caught it on camera. The police came. We gave the police a videotape. We got the guy's license plate. We tracked him down. We know where he lives. We know where he works. We gave the information to the police. Up to now, and this is 4 months, up to now, there is no arrest.
So you have video of this man doing all this stuff, including brandishing a weapon.
We have video. And up to now, we're still like, okay, so...
Okay, you know what, Denise, hold on a second. I'm going to put you on hold because I want to get some of this information. I want you to talk to my producer because we're going to pursue this. We're going to see if we can get some justice for your workers because this is completely unacceptable. We will minimally, I assure you, we will get a response of some type from the police. I hope that it will be different than the ones you got. Hold on, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to have you talk to my producer, Jose Benavides, and I'd really like to get some more information from him because we want to be of service in this regard. Hold on one second.
One other thing.
Yes, please do.
I just wanted to invite people on Saturday. We're having a demonstration in front of the Los Angeles Cathedral downtown on Temple Street. It's All Survivors Day. We're asking all women, people, anyone who has been sexually assaulted to come out and take a stand. And really, we're going to put it on the ballot. That any candidate and who has a position on this issue is going to receive our support.
Right, and that's and again, can you give the name of the day and the date that it's happening?
All Survivors Day, November 3rd at 3 o'clock.
All Survivors Day, November 3rd, 3 o'clock, Los Angeles Cathedral, downtown on Temple.
On Temple.
Great. Thank you. Hold on one second, if you will, please. I want you to have a chat with Jose. Hold on. Wow. That's sad and amazing. But maybe we can do something about this. Maybe we can help. So we're taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985. No worker should be threatened, have to deal with racial abuse, should be spat upon and threatened by some angry racist brandishing a gun and have police, when the crime is on camera and there are multiple witnesses, have the police refuse to take action. We're going to see what we can do to leverage them forward in this event.